the Federal Reserve. A name whispered in dark corners, yet a central player in the world's financial system. But is it a guardian of stability or a shadowy puppeteer pulling the strings of the economy? Established in 1913, the Fed's purpose is clear: to ensure a stable financial system and promote economic growth. Yet, the immense power it wields is often hidden from public view, breeding suspicion and conspiracy theories. One major criticism is the lack of transparency. The Fed, a quasi-public entity, operates with some level of secrecy, particularly its Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC, which sets interest rates. Proponents of transparency argue it fosters public trust and prevents market manipulation. Opponents fear it might give away the Fed's negotiating power. Another accusation involves the unelected officials who govern the Fed. The Federal Reserve Board is appointed, raising questions about democratic accountability. Some point to alternative models where central bank leadership is chosen differently, sparking debates about the best selection process. The Fed's actions also face scrutiny. Critics argue it favors specific sectors or institutions. They point to concepts like moral hazard, where bailouts incentivize risky behavior by banks. Additionally, concerns arise about financial inclusion, whether the Fed's policies ensure equal access to credit for everyone. Finally, some conspiracy theories paint the Fed as part of a shadowy global cabal, the New World Order, controlling international finances. While the Fed does participate in global financial institutions like the IMF, its primary focus remains the U.S. economy. To understand these accusations, we must look back. Again, the Fed was born in 1913, a response to the financial panics of the early 20th century. Back then, bank runs were a constant threat, and the need for a more stable system was paramount. Alternative proposals for financial reform existed then, but the Fed emerged as the chosen solution. However, key historical events fuel skepticism. The Great Depression's severity is a point of contention. Did the Fed worsen the crisis or hinder recovery? The debate continues. Similarly, the 2008 financial crisis raises questions. Critics point to low interest rates as a contributing factor and question the effectiveness of the Fed's response, like quantitative easing, QE, and its long-term implications. Certain figures often appear in conspiracy theories, though we won't name them here. Understanding the historical players involved in the Fed's creation and their potential biases is crucial. Additionally, some prominent political figures have voiced concerns about the Fed's power, further amplifying public scrutiny. The Fed primarily uses three tools to influence the economy. Interest rates. By raising or lowering interest rates, the Fed impacts borrowing costs. Lower rates encourage borrowing and investment, potentially stimulating economic growth. Conversely, higher rates discourage borrowing and cool down inflation. Bank reserves. The Fed sets reserve requirements, dictating the percentage of deposits banks must hold in reserve. Adjusting these requirements influences the amount of money banks can lend, impacting overall credit availability in the economy. Open market operations. The Fed buys and sells government securities in the open market. Buying securities injects money into the economy, while selling them removes money. This tool helps manage interest rates and the money supply. However, central banking is a complex dance. The Fed strives to achieve multiple goals simultaneously: economic growth, promoting a healthy pace of economic expansion, creating jobs and opportunities; price stability, keeping inflation under control, preventing the purchasing power of currency from eroding rapidly; maximum employment, minimizing unemployment and fostering a healthy labor market. These goals can sometimes come into conflict. For example, policies encouraging growth might also lead to higher inflation. The Fed must constantly weigh these trade-offs to make the best decisions for the overall health of the economy. It's also important to clarify some misconceptions about the Fed's role. Tax policy. The Fed does not set tax policy. Taxes are determined by the legislative branch of government. Individual bank accounts. The Fed does not directly control individual bank accounts. It regulates banks and sets reserve requirements, but it doesn't have access to individual accounts. Finally, the Fed operates with some level of oversight. The Government Accountability Office, GAO, audits the Fed's operations, and Congress holds hearings where Fed officials are questioned about their decisions. However, the effectiveness of these oversight mechanisms remains a subject of debate. Conspiracy theories surrounding the Fed can have a ripple effect, leading to several potential dangers. Erosion of trust. When public trust in essential financial institutions like the Fed is eroded, it can discourage participation in the financial system and hinder economic growth. A healthy financial system relies on a foundation of trust in its governing bodies. Citizens may be less likely to invest, save, or borrow if they believe the system is rigged. Disengagement with policy. Conspiracy theories can discourage citizens from engaging with economic policy discussions. An informed citizenry is vital for a healthy democracy. If people believe the system is controlled by shadowy forces, they may feel their voices don't matter and become apathetic towards economic issues. This weakens accountability and hinders responsible policymaking, as there's less pressure on the Fed to be transparent and responsive to public concerns. Political polarization. Conspiracy theories surrounding the Fed often become entangled with broader political debates. They can be used to score political points and further divide the public. This makes it difficult to find common ground on important economic issues. Effective economic policy requires cooperation across the political spectrum. When conspiracy theories dominate the conversation, it becomes nearly impossible to have a rational discussion about the Fed's role and the best course of action for the economy. Financial instability. If financial decisions are based on misinformation spread by conspiracy theories, it can lead to instability in the markets. For example, people might make poor investment choices or withdraw their money from banks based on unfounded fears. This can have a negative impact on individuals, businesses, and the overall economy. A healthy skepticism towards powerful institutions like the Fed is important for a functioning democracy. However, it's crucial to distinguish healthy skepticism from unfounded conspiracy theories. Here are some potential solutions to increase transparency and accountability at the Fed. Public release of FOMC minutes. Currently, FOMC meeting minutes are released with a lag, often 5 weeks or more after the meeting. Earlier disclosure, potentially within a few weeks of the meeting, could foster greater public understanding of the Fed's decision-making process. This could involve redacting any commercially sensitive information while still providing a clear picture of the economic factors considered and the rationale behind the Fed's choices. While Congress has oversight authority over the Fed, some argue for strengthening these mechanisms to ensure the Fed is held accountable for its actions. This could involve more frequent hearings with Fed officials, requiring more detailed reports on the Fed's activities, or granting Congress greater authority to review and potentially veto certain Fed policies. However, it's important to strike a balance. Excessive oversight could hinder the Fed's ability to make independent decisions in a timely manner. Many citizens lack a basic understanding of the Fed's role and tools. Investing in public education initiatives could dispel misconceptions and promote informed public discourse. The Fed itself could play a role in these initiatives, developing educational materials and outreach programs targeted at various audiences. Schools could also incorporate lessons on central banking and economic policy into their curriculums. By increasing financial literacy, citizens would be better equipped to evaluate economic information critically and avoid falling prey to conspiracy theories. While the current structure of the Fed, with a presidentially appointed board of governors, has served the U.S. for over a century, some propose exploring alternative models. One possibility is a central bank board with broader representation. This board could include members from different regions of the country or representatives from various economic sectors, such as labor, industry, and consumer groups. The goal would be to ensure the Fed's policies consider the diverse needs of the entire economy and not just the interests of Wall Street banks. It's important to note that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. The best approach will likely involve a combination of these strategies. Finding the right balance between transparency, accountability, and the Fed's ability to make independent decisions in a timely manner is crucial. A more transparent and accountable Fed can build public trust and legitimacy, fostering a more informed and constructive dialogue about economic policy. The Federal Reserve is not the only central bank in the world. Exploring how other countries manage their central banks can offer valuable insights. Structure. Central bank structures vary around the world. Some central banks are more independent, like the Fed, while others are more directly accountable to government entities. For example, the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee is appointed by the Chancellor of the Exchequer, a government official. Transparency. Levels of transparency also differ. Some central banks, like the Fed, face criticism for their perceived lack of openness, while others prioritize clear communication with the public. For instance, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand publishes detailed minutes of its policy meetings shortly after they occur. Policy goals. Central banks around the world often have different policy goals beyond just price stability. These might include promoting employment, supporting specific industries, or maintaining a stable exchange rate. For example, the European Central Bank has a dual mandate of maintaining price stability and promoting high employment. The People's Bank of China, on the other hand, plays a more prominent role in directing credit towards specific sectors deemed important for national development. By learning from the experiences of other countries, potential improvements to the Fed's structure, transparency, and policy goals can be identified. For instance, the Fed could consider adopting a more explicit dual mandate that includes both price stability and employment, or it could explore ways to improve the timeliness and detail of its communication with the public. The future holds new challenges for the Fed. Here are two major areas to consider. The rise of cryptocurrencies. The rise of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology may disrupt traditional central banking models. Cryptocurrencies operate outside the control of central banks, potentially challenging their ability to influence the money supply and manage inflation. The Fed must adapt its approach to navigate this evolving financial landscape. This could involve developing its own digital currency or exploring ways to regulate cryptocurrencies without stifling innovation. The automation of financial markets. The increasing automation of financial markets through algorithms and artificial intelligence raises questions about the Fed's role in a more automated financial system. Algorithmic trading can increase volatility and make markets more prone to sudden crashes. The Fed will need to develop new tools and frameworks to ensure financial stability in an increasingly automated environment. Perhaps the most significant challenge lies in ensuring the Fed's policies serve all segments of society. Addressing income inequality and ensuring everyone has access to the financial tools they need is crucial for a healthy and inclusive economy. The Fed can play a role in promoting financial inclusion by supporting initiatives that expand access to credit for low and moderate income communities. The Federal Reserve remains an enigma. Is it an essential safeguard or a system ripe for reform? Understanding its history, actions, and the ongoing debate about its true influence is crucial. But most importantly, we must seek solutions to ensure the Fed serves the public good, promoting transparency, accountability, and a financial system that benefits all. The Federal Reserve, a vital part of the economic landscape, demanding responsible stewardship and ongoing public discourse to ensure it remains a force for stability and shared prosperity. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this.
It's London Lee.